What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to today's trade recap and market analysis section for today. Today we took one trade, and the trade idea was okay. The only thing was our execution was pretty bad. We got a really late entry. Risk to reward was 1-to-1. Could have been much better, and our risk to reward could have been much better as well. But we were quite hesitant on this simply because we missed a trade before, and market data was delayed with the trade. So let's get straight into this, right? So, hold on. Alright, so coming into the day, what we saw was that, let me take out these volume profiles, there we go. Okay, essentially what we saw coming into the day was previously we've had this aggressive selling movement that we've been seeing. Now, right as we came down to this region, which did happen to be a 3-hour demand zone. Oh wait, it's not a 3-hour, 4-hour demand zone essentially, right? Which you can mark out like such. Hold on. So it's something similar to that, right? We saw us come down to this 4-hour demand zone, and what do we see in terms of volume? Well, that's where such a volume profile occurs. But rather, instead of volume, let's use delta. That will probably be much better. 820 4-hour. Yep. So what am I choosing? Da, 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 da. Yeah, right there. Yeah, adjust my settings. Hold on. Hold, give me 1 second. You guys can get a setting leak right here. Okay, price. There we go. Should be fixed now. I believe, right? Aha, it's the crosshair. Text is white. Background is. Keep the background. See that. All right, there we go. That fixes things. All right, wait. All right, hold on. Just let me fix this real quick. Make this black. Make the background white. Close. There we go. That's much better. Okay. I'm just making sure that this is the right area, right? So if we zoom into here, what do we see, right? We see aggressive big sellers coming in, right? I mean, we can't really see this in terms of delta, but we do see this with this big play, big player or big trades indicator, right? We do see a little bit of sellers trying to come in there, but what we see more than that is we're seeing buying delta at this region. So what that automatically makes me seem and assume is that there's some sort of absorption or activity going along here that strike this long action to occur. And we can actually see this right upon market open, which you'll go ahead and see this very soon, right? We come down aggressively. We tap into the 6670, very funny region, right? Upon that liquidity, we've seen very aggressive buyers take in, and we see this through these buyers that have been coming in and this imbalance of buyers, despite the fact that we are seeing big selling players get introduced. So buying is coming in after we swept lower liquidity. And if you take a look on NQ, I believe, hold on. If you take a look at NQ, we did take out that lower liquidity. NQ, I mean, honestly, liquidity sweeps are just one confluence in terms of many, especially in technical analysis. I'm not going to base my entire reasoning based on simply some sweep that we're seeing on the charts, but we're seeing cross analysis confluence, and that's what we're really talking about, right? This level got swept, and that sweep caused this movement. Is it because of this level? No. But rather, is it because of the 6670 region, which happened to align with that level for reasons that we may not know, and if those are reasons at all? Yes. So what we're worried about is that this liquidity level is significant and it caused price to move upwards, and we're seeing very big buyers come in, right? Here, with the selling delta in this region, we now know that many sellers are now trapped. But now here at this region, 6700, we're getting large amounts of buying delta occur, and you can actually see this in real time with all these big buying players that we're seeing with the big trades indicator. delta isn't really revealing too much, rather than big trades indicator is. And at this moment, we're not really seeing any opportunity quite yet. Essentially, we're trying to identify a direction first. Okay, I just skipped forward by accident. Hold on. And one thing was, even if there were stuff that show up here, I wasn't able to take anything with confidence there simply because market data was bugging out this morning. For those who use Orderflow, these price levels weren't aligning with the price levels on the actual chart, and these price levels were very delayed alongside this delay as well. So with all this delay from data providers, and we're trying to make a trade off of that, we don't want to risk that delay impacting our entries, causing slippage, which makes our risk to reward potentially worse, which causes less profits and potentially even a big loser as compared to a big winner. And we want to avoid that. It's better to wait because opportunities will come again. But essentially, we're starting to see these buyers start to come in, and we start to balance out at from around 8:55 to 9:20. I mean, at this moment, we have no potential plays that we can make, right? Because price is balancing out. We're trying to find direction at this region, and just take a look at how Bookmap looks. This might be the live stream thing, but we're seeing levels below. Not really any crazy levels above. What we're seeing is support from these aggressive limit buyers in terms of buyer urgency, right? And we're essentially balancing out here, as you can see. Right? What do we notice here, right? Take a look, right? This is the entire balance region. We've came up, liquidity is now getting tight inside of this general range. We have buyer urgency occurring as these buy limit orders are moving up and are moving up with the price movement. So the value and fair value of price is moving up in terms of order flow. And if fair value is moving up in terms of order flow, more likely than not, the price movement will also be bullish unless this lower limit order breaks and we start to see fair value moving down. That's why it's highly important to categorize and identify the reactions at these levels as compared to simply front running it to an extent. Of course, there's going to be exceptions for all different types of things, but that's just a quick statement I had to make. I believe there is some type of play around here at 9:30. Yeah, like at this moment, right? This was one thing I noticed. Hold on, let me figure out what else. Okay, let's see. Okay, we mark out the point of control of this entire range, right? What do we notice? Okay, I need to put this prior to that action, right? So say before market even opened, right? At that 8 o'clock candle, perhaps, right? We mark out a volume profile of the recent range that we've created, right? Recent downwards move or imbalance. What we see is that within this downwards movement imbalance, a majority of our volume is happening here. Okay, happening here inside of this, which, I mean, if you take a look at that, look at where we rejected, right? Literally top that. And also here. So, hold on. Let me just keep it. Oh my god. Hold on. Okay, it essentially matches with this blue line. Just keep in mind that this blue line that we're seeing here was a point of control of the previous day, or almost approximately the point of control of the previous day, right? What we started. Okay, that's not even important at this point. That's important later on for the trade that we made, but actually don't worry about that now because I mean, the point of control obviously acts as a magnet, right? Price wants to go and transact in the area where there's the most volume, as that is so-called fair value. And that's above where price is. Liquidity and passive urgency is moving up with price, right? And these are providing decent value opportunities for for us to capture these long moves until this point of control. So that's what we were looking to take initially, especially after the breakout of this range here, right? We had some bookmap liquidity above, we had some bookmap liquidity below, and now we've broken out. So essentially, this is a simple break and retest type of movement, right? We broke this range, retesting back in here, see any absorption or any signal within order flow to enter that's actually meaningful, or anything that's showing either selling weakness or buyer strength, we can enter it there. Because if there's nothing significant in there, what makes us say that this isn't just some type of price movement due to low volume or low interactions between big institutions? Because, I mean, if big institutions are entering at this region, or if big players are getting failing at this region, that can only mean two things. If they're failing, it means that there's an even bigger player defending this area, driving prices up, and if they're succeeding, that means they're entering at this region, hoping price will go even higher. And that's what I mean by aggressive versus limit orders, right? There's only certain things we can see with this big players indicator, and that's what Delta helps us see in Bookmap, allows us to see as well with limit orders and absorption. So here, I believe, let's see. Like here, we saw a really big passive buy order coming here at 6720. I believe it does get broken through, yeah. And this is at the 1020 candle, 920 candle, of course. And that's where we see this big buying player, big selling player here. But once again, this is between our range, right? At the top, we don't really see any targets at all, right? Nothing is significant as to what we want. Perhaps just 136 region, capture shorts like that, but once again, nothing is too significant. Like, I would like to take longs, but if we take longs, what is there to target other than the point of control in terms of liquidity? And in this case, we're not really seeing any significant liquidity. Rather, we're seeing a significant block of liquidity below. But what we are seeing with cumulative volume delta is that lots of sellers are failing to break below. And this is cumulative, right? This isn't just about big players, but we're seeing a lot of selling delta here fail to hold. They're not getting rewarded, and price is holding above. And take a look, in this consolidation zone, we're seeing the accumulation of sellers. And once we've broken out of that range, it's either fake out or all these sellers are now absorbed, and that might accelerate these buys to the upside, as you can see right there. So let's keep moving forward. And now we see these buys come in, right? And here, what do we see here? We've made a big aggressive move towards the upside, breaking our range, right? Now, important urgent buying pressure is being put. Now, there are potential logs here. If we retrace into any of these aggressive buy absorption levels, logs might be a decent idea. But once again, not really any significant targets towards the upside, so I am going to be quite iffy. I believe there was something to be taken here. See, now at 6745 and 6750, we are starting to gain some significance in terms of liquidity, but the order book is pretty clear, and in these situations, trading is within good conditions. Okay, it looks like there was no opportunity there. I believe it is after though. Hold on. What time did I even mark? 9:30, yeah. Aha, right there. Okay, I think I just missed out on that. Aha, right there. So we come up, we see this level, and that level moves down, but at this level we see sellers get in, right? Let's go to that 9:30 cap. At that region where we had these passive buyers, sellers came in, right? We see this by this, what one tick below this, but at that one tick, what do we see? 402 sell orders get entered in at that liquidity region. Price moves back up, and now at the top, especially the 6745 region, we're starting to see some liquidity form for general target to occur. And more than that, what we've seen is that we've seen this we're seeing buying icebergs occur, and these buying icebergs are occurring with strength. Take a look at these past minutes, right? Are there any seller icebergs that we can really see? Perhaps you can see some there, but they're not significant, right? The ones that are for sure significant, look at these buying icebergs that we can see, right? All are pretty significant. 2006, 1,300, 1,500. They're all pretty significant. We've come back into this region, showed icebergs. Now we're getting targets at the bottom, and we've been seeing this buying aggression all day, even after the accumulation of sellers. Buyers have broken out above. We're seeing buyers continue to hold with urgency, and we're seeing some decent targets above as well. Now, honestly, I don't think I would have entered here simply because of the fact that we have the 6740 region blocking price from heading upwards. I may have entered, I may not have entered, but it's hard to tell from hindsight, and I don't want to overfit my testing to put in hindsight as well. But once again here, let's see here, right? Okay, I just want to see what happens in this 35 candle. Let's see what we actually can observe. Hold on. Aha. So we do touch this area, move upwards, and now this 6740 area has lots of liquidity. So yeah, I mean, makes sense that I wasn't too strong about the trade. I mean, I marked it out as potential opportunity, but it's not really as good of a play as I may have thought before. But one thing I noticed here is look at those big buy limit orders that just came in there that might strike some buying aggression to flood through. Let's see what happens. Very big buying aggression right there, spoofing. Big buying getting in there. Now we are pushing up pretty strongly now. I mean, once again, not really anything we can take really, I'm gonna be honest. And of course, you have that Bookmap liquidity region down below. I mean, guess what, guys? I'm speaking all about these longs, and today the trade which I actually took was short. So, and you'll see why as well. As you see here, we're going up a lot. Okay. Okay. I mean, here liquidity is distributed. Nothing really we can take off of. Hold on. Let's make sure as well. I mean, here seller absorption could be argued here, right? Because take a look at here, right? This is pretty significant, right? We're seeing selling imbalances here. 0 buyers within 4 ticks. An entire dollar level of price range is filled, and these are typically imbalances that need to be filled in the market. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't notice this when I was live trading. I just noticed the imbalances of these sellers getting absorbed. Those sellers got absorbed and price, I mean, started to head higher. That's that. They got absorbed over here. Even to the 45 candle. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got absorbed here. This big selling right here, the buyer curve. Okay, so that's cool. Maybe we took the trade that was best for us. We didn't miss out on anything. Okay, at this moment, take a look at where we are in terms of price, right? Price has touched upon that point of control. What did I do? Hold on. There we go. Price has came to that point of control, and buyers are struggling to move higher, right? We're not seeing much volume. There's not really any targets towards the upside, right? Liquidity is getting broken through on the sell side, and now what we're seeing is we're starting to see seller we're starting to see seller urgency, and selling delta is now getting rewarded. That is a signal that the like movement at this moment may shift towards a small retracement towards the downside. And what we notice is that this 6750, 6745 region, this seems to be a pretty good retracement area for price to head into. Now, I'm eyeing the shorts here. I enter at 10:05, so not quite good. You'll see, right? We tap into this upper liquidity. Big buyers get in. We move above it a little bit, but once again, as you see, sellers are showing urgency. I mean, realistically, I will potentially could have got an entry here. Let's take a look at that 950 candle or 955 candle. You see that buying is buying back up. See buying again at this bottom. I mean, the footprint isn't really telling us too much. More so, the limit orders are giving us good signal. I mean, if we tap into that region, start to see buyer absorption. Ooh, I should have entered here. I can't lie. Let's look at this. Look at what happens here. Do you spot that? 266 selling orders got occurred, and price starts to drop. Like, I mean, lots of sellers got in there. I could see why I was hesitant at this area, right? Because once that occurred, there's not really any supporting liquidity that stops price from going higher. That being said, there's no target for price above as well in terms of liquidity. We saw the selling urgency, but it's not there anymore, and that's probably why we're hesitant. I do want to see some urgency occur. Okay, right here, we see even more urgency, right, with this 153 sell order. After we saw that occur, potentially we could have got an entry around here. Let's just say we got an entry at 54.25 instead of our current entry, 54.25. Where do we place our stop loss? I mean, we're going to place our stop loss right above this, so potentially 57.5. It's a pretty tight stop, can't lie. 13 tick stop. Where are we targeting? We're targeting 50. Actually, we can target 50 because liquidity level is at 50. So 1.31 risk reward. Not the greatest, not the worst. Let's see if we go back up to 75. Nope. Right at that moment, we head straight to our target. So I mean, that would have been a performance of great execution, and that should have been what we've taken, potentially even earlier trade, but that's what I think would show confidence. Unfortunately, as you can see, we entered a bit too late after seeing that selling follow through. Took a 1-to-1 for 10 takes, which is nothing crazy, but it is a decent winner. 10 takes is never something to complain about. Our average wins are about 20 takes, so around half of that. But of course, our wins are pretty nice, so I mean, half of that is also going to be pretty nice. It's just that we could have got a better entry and execution, so definitely stuff to improve on for the next time. Now, this is interesting, right? We saw these shorts occur, and where did they occur into? Our Bookmap liquidity. Now, take a look at what happened to price after this Bookmap liquidity. Boom. Look at that. That's really interesting stuff right there. And, I mean, potentially, this is what the previous data can lie hints about, right? What do we notice here? I'm going to delete this. Hold on. What do we notice out here? This was the imbalances and zero buy orders that we've talked about, right? Lots of sellers got absorbed in this region. Now we come back down to the general region. I want to see what happens between sellers. And as you can see here, sellers are getting absorbed. I would love to see a target. Like, if there was a clear target towards the upside, longs would have looked really nice, but I'm not really seeing that, so there's no reason for me to take a long. Potentially that 160 order could be good. 160, nah. I mean, would have been a great order to take, but the order book isn't looking as filled as we wanted to. It's not looking too clear, but that sweep of that lower liquidity after that we saw really big buying pressure occur until the end of our session. So I mean, that's basically going to be all from our market analysis here today. There were some good trades that we could have taken today, better execution on our current trade. But I mean, we've taken the only trade that makes sense to us. Potentially, we could have taken a trade there. In hindsight, it's not really as good as we thought it was earlier in the day. But good that we took the trade that we did and ended up with a decent profit here for today. Even if it isn't as big as usual, it's still going to be appreciated. So I'm going to end the video on that note. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or join the completely free Discord server linked in the description down below. It has a lot of free resources and everything is free. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. Also, if you want to use and check out the order flow tools that I'm using, including Addis charts, which is my footprint charts and stuff, and Bookmap live stream, those will be linked in the description below as well. In fact, Addis is actually one of our channel partners, and honestly, they're one of the most user-friendly and one of the platforms with the most free accessibility that I've seen. So definitely do your own research and check it out on your own discretion. But with that being said, that's all I have here for today, and I'll likely see you guys over the weekend for pre-week analysis, and if not, I'll see you guys on Monday for market analysis. So, I guess I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.